Hey guys, Mike Killen here from Sell Your Service. And if a customer offered you a 20% commission on all sales of their product sold through a funnel that you've built, should you work with that customer? Today, I want to talk about should you sell a funnel for a commission or a revenue split? What's the advantage of that over using a regular pricing model? Commission or revenue share models are a great way to price your business. We've had a lot of success with them at our agency at MeBox. However, we've also made a lot of mistakes, and the process of a revenue share or commission can be very, very complicated, and it can be a bit of a double-edged sword. Revenue share and commission-based businesses, funnel projects can sound like a really good idea. It lowers the barrier to entry, and often customers will be more likely and willing to approach you and work with you if you offer that kind of model. The problem comes, however, when revenue share or commission isn't profitable. There's kind of like an old saying which says that 10% of something is better than 100% of nothing, and often a lot of the funnel share and revenue projects that we've worked with, revenue split models that we've worked with, have said, hey, we'll give you 20% commission or 50% commission or 50% of the revenue. And I kind of think, well, you're not making any sales now, so we would get you might as well give us 100% because you're not making any money. In order to understand if a revenue split based model or funnel model would work for you, you have to basically compare and work out what it would be if you were to price that model in a more traditional manner if they were paying for the project themselves. Like I said, it can lower the barrier to entry. It means that they put less money up front. You have maybe a bit more work to do, but actually it can scale and grow your business. The revenue split model basically means that you take a percentage of each sale made via your funnel. The figures range anywhere from kind of 10% to 40%, but we have seen as low as 5%, and we have seen higher when you go into a full partnership with them. For example, if we were to build a marketing funnel for a customer who sold books, maybe for like $15 per book, and they used our funnel for every single sale made, and we collected 40%, that yields us $6 per book. If we sell 100 books, that's $600. Obviously, you can see that maths was a strong suit of mine during school. However, that's hardly going to break the bank or be a viable option to replace your entire funnel payment model. If you sold 100 books in a month, that would only be $600 as opposed to having a larger share up front and just having that be a one-off project. However, it might sound obvious, but you can get very enticing to get 10%, 20% and 40% on every sale made when you don't have your own products to sell. I want to share with you some of the maths and the points that we take into consideration before taking on a revenue share or a revenue split model. I'm going to be looking away at my screen because I've got some of the figures in front of me because I can't Rain Man it basically. So first of all, we have to work out if it's profitable. First, we need to understand whether the project is profitable, and to do that, we're going to do some super basic maths. So I'm going to bring up on the screen here 2 funnel pricing options. Okay, so we have 2 different funnel projects. On the left-hand side, we have funnel number 1, which is a project costing approximately $25,000. On the right-hand side, we have funnel 2, which is our revenue share option. Before talking to a customer about a revenue split or agreeing a revenue split, we must first understand whether the project would be profitable for us to do as a revenue split model. So funnel number 1, let's assume that we've gone through a discovery process and we've done a deep dive and a consultation and all that, and we know enough about the funnel project to understand how much it would cost us, and we've arrived at the price of $25,000. The price of $25,000 estimates the cost of the project to us, meaning like hiring developers, hiring designers, hosting, etc. We've worked out that cost to be about $8,500. Our overheads during this time are also $8,500. The profit we would derive from this particular project, this is our margin, would be around $8,000. Let's say we also have them on a recurring revenue maintenance marketing package based at like $350 per month, which generates us $4,200 per year using the same rough 30% profit margin as above. That would give us a profit per year of $1,260. So in total, for the entire project and for the year, we generate a profit of $9,260. You need to know more than anything how much your costs are, how much the cost to the business and the project would be, such as new staff, outsourcing, content, consultation time, etc., and how much profit you're expecting to make on each project. At Sell Your Service, we estimate a healthy profit margin on all funnels and services to be around 30%. You have to know exactly how much the project would generate you if you weren't using a revenue split model. The key to a revenue split model is it only becomes profitable when you understand if it would make more money than if the project was priced outright. So we'll rough up an estimate and say, okay, well, the project's going to cost us this much. It will generate this much profit at the end of the year. So you have to know exactly how much profit it's going to generate you, because we're then going to compare that to the revenue split model next. So this is now funnel number 2. One of the biggest misconceptions is that revenue split projects don't require any upfront costs. Frankly, the idea that you would not only run the costs of the funnel as well as run the funnel, maintain the funnel, develop it, design it, launch it, all for a product that isn't even yours is frankly pretty ludicrous. And I think any customer that says otherwise, probably, in fact, I don't think they would disagree with you. I think that sounds kind of insane when you put it out like that. Many of our initial revenue share customers did say to us, hey, well, why are you charging us for any of this? We're giving you 50%. I'm like, but it's not proven. You haven't given us it. We have to at least maintain costs. We have to get it up there. It's not me doing it. I have a team of people. And yeah, we're happy to do a revenue split afterwards. But if your product sells that well, then surely this shouldn't be a problem. This is kind of one of our first points. We insist that every single revenue split model has a cost covered price line. Even if we're doing a 40% revenue share, we'll insist that the customer still covers the cost of the funnel. We can't work for free, and the customer has to have some kind of investment. They have to have skin in the game. Assuming that our costs are the same for each funnel, the cost to the customer would be $8,500. This would cover getting the project off the ground. Overheads and profit should be covered by the revenue share. This means that the combined figure of the overhead and the profit needs to be over $8,500 plus $8,000 for the overheads and profit, giving us a combined figure of $16,500. So previously, when we priced $2,500, we worked out there was around an $8,000 profit margin and $8,500 for overheads. We need to make sure that the profit and the overheads are covered by the revenue share generated from the customer. This means that if we're working on a 40% commission, 40% of sales, essentially, this 40% needs to be higher than those two combined. So we have the three kind of areas. We have profit, overheads, and project costs. Project costs are only going to be happening on that particular project. Overheads are costs to our business, and profit is margin that we need to have to pay everyone, continue growth of the business. That margin obviously is not just money that we keep, it's then reinvested into the business. But that in total is around $16,500. So I need to know that 40% of sales made through that funnel in a year will cover $16,500. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. The total number of sales generated by the product, therefore, needs to be $41,250 to be precise. So that means if our marketing funnel generates $4,000 in revenue, we take 40% of it, which equates roughly to $16,000. That means that most of our project costs, most of our overheads and most of our profit are covered. So we need to know, will this generate over $41,000 in the year that it's up? That means that the project would have at least paid for itself and still generated us a 30% profit margin. But let's look at our recurring revenue costs as well. Assuming the maintenance and care package would be the same $350 per month, we need 40% of sales to be over that $350 per month in order to cover our costs, contribute towards our overheads, and still provide us profit. If we're not taking any maintenance recurring revenue from the customer, then the sales need to make up that difference. So that means that all of the sales made 40% of the revenue needs to cover the cost of the maintenance plan for the customer. So let me say that again because it's getting a bit complicated. Of all the sales generated, inside that 40%, we also need to take out money every single month in order to be able to pay for the maintenance and ongoing costs of the website. So that means at $350 per month or $4,200 per year, 40% of sales need to be over that $4,200 per year, which gives us around $10,000. So if the sales equate to $10,000 per year and we're getting paid 40% commission, we're able to provide a maintenance package and still generate profit. Now, of course, this also means that if we're to go to $20,000 per year, we would be generating twice as much and our profit margin would become much fatter and healthier because we're still providing the same services. Now, this can all seem a bit too good to be true, but our experience is actually very rare to find businesses that have the ability to launch like this. And let me tell you why. We call this concept, what are you working with? What does the customer have in terms of resources and foundations, which means you'll be able to generate close to $50,000 a year in sales per their business. Remember, at 40%, $50,000 gives us roughly 26,000, something like that, a little bit less than that, but sorry, it won't be 26,000, will it? Sorry, 20,000 that it would generate for us, which would cover our maintenance costs and our initial profits and things like this. So we need to have a real hard look at whether they're able to ramp up to those $50,000 in sales through a marketing funnel which you've built in order to beat the profit margins that you could have made had you just sold them a funnel with a standard pricing model. Imagine the customer for funnel 1 having an email list of 10,000 people. In order to cover the costs of the entire project and the maintenance fees, they would have to generate roughly $30,000, which is just $3 per email subscriber. If they sell a $1,000 project, it means they just have to make 30 sales out of those 10,000 subscribers, and they've covered the cost of your funnel for an entire year. It also means that next year, when they generate 30 sales again at a $1,000, their profits are much higher and they don't have to pay for the funnel project in the first place. They're just paying for the maintenance packages. So the second year, it works out actually a lot cheaper for them and they have much healthier profit margins. Now imagine that same customer offering you a revenue share model for a marketing funnel. If we're being conservative and offering to attempt to generate 50 cents per email subscriber per month, that gives us $5,000 per month. In reality, we found that each email subscriber is probably closer to $1 per month for a lot of our customers. But at $5,000 per month, the customer for funnel 2, who's on a revenue share split, would be giving us 40% of $5,000, which equates to like $2,000 a month, or 40% of $60,000 a year, which is around 24 grand. We worked out that the total sales required for the year for funnel 2 was around $50,000. At $60,000, we'd be a little over our target, which is fantastic news. Imagine we could generate $1 per subscriber per month, which would generate us around $4,000 per month from 10 grand in total sales. This would be an even healthier profit margin for us and be an incredibly lucrative deal. Now, do you think that you could take on that kind of project? Now imagine a second customer who's also offering us a commission deal based on funnel 2, based on the revenue split model. They don't have any email subscribers. They don't have any website traffic. They're starting from scratch. They haven't really made sales. They therefore don't have a lot of money, so are willing to offer you a higher commission rate in exchange for lowering your prices. Why? Because they know that they feel they don't have the funds available, and they're hoping to exchange equity in lieu of payments, essentially. That means that you'd have to generate an email list for them, an email subscriber list for them from scratch. You'd have to generate profit from each one of those subscribers and generate revenue regularly from each one of their subscribers and continue to grow their business. Assuming that they have a traffic budget, it's possible that this could work out and be profitable for you. However, in our experience, we've had to work extremely hard with customers like this in order to grow their business. Essentially, when they're giving you 40% of their revenue and their business in order to grow their own business, we've found that it's very difficult to get them to do 60% of the work. I'll come on to that in a bit. So how long will it take to get to a profitable goal? So how long would it take one of these customers or either one of these funnels to be profitable for you? Funnel 1 would be profitable during the project. For you as a business, it would be profitable during the project. Followed through with the same customer, it would be profitable within the first year. Funnel number 2, under a commission model, using customer number 2, who doesn't have any assets or resources or email subscribers or anything like that, will take much, much longer to become profitable. Again, in exchange for 40% 40% commission or revenue split, it can seem very, very appealing to think, well, in 3 years' time, this will be a money-making machine. When in actual fact, what you're doing there is you're timesing your costs by 3 as well. You're timesing your costs by 3. You need to be very careful about understanding how long it will take before a project is profitable. A bit of a pro tip, don't use their revenue projections and financial sales projections as a measure of what they expect to make. Use numbers that you see on this blog and talking to real funnel builders to understand how long it takes to get their company profitable. Typically, a company doesn't make profit for 5 years. If they're actually giving you 40% of their revenue, it will take even longer for them to get to a profit level. So do you want to make that kind of commitment? If you look at their revenue or sales projections, use the 4x rule. So the 4x rule states that any projections make will take 4 times as long, produce 1/4 of the results for 4 times the energy and 4 times the cost. I've actually had prospects and leads argue with me about their sales projections, telling me that our business mentor and our bank manager think that these are really realistic when they actually have no evidence to support this, despite the fact they're coming to me with close to a decade's worth of digital marketing and funnel experience. They argue with me over the point. And I still apply that 4x rule. So if they say, hey, we're expected to make $100,000 this year, I'll say, okay, so I think it will take 4 years for you to get to $100,000. I think you won't get to $100,000. I think you'll get to $25,000. I think it will take 4 times the energy and the time as well. So the effort and time that we have to put in. And it really sort of makes them think, oh God, this is going to cost way more. And it will be 4x the cost as well. So whatever they think it's going to cost to get them to $100,000, chances are it's going to cost 4 times that. Whatever they think they're going to reach $100,000, it's going to be 4 times that. Whatever they think their final end goal is going to be, chances are it's going to be 1/4 of that. I'd rather take those numbers into account. So rather than $100,000 this year, you're probably looking at $25,000 in 4 years' time. Big difference. Remember, any future projections, if they outgrow that, that's awesome. But we have found that to be typically the case with these particular types of customers. There's also a funnel customer paradox with a revenue split. Here's what happens with the funnel customer paradox. As soon as you take on 40% of a customer's revenue or business or equity, they will not start to only do 60% of the work, right? But that seems logical, okay? But it's not. They don't follow that. If you're doing 40% of the work for 40% of the revenue, shouldn't they do 60% of the work for 60% of the revenue? Sounds pretty obvious. In fact, what I've found is often the case is customers will do far less work as soon as they believe that a marketing funnel builder is working with them or for them. They begin to pass the buck pretty easily, and they expect you as the funnel builder as to why the business doesn't work. That becomes your fault and your problem. Some businesses that we've worked with, and I should say have the privilege of working with, have continued to put 100% of their effort into their business all the way up until the end and even past that. They make phone calls, they book meetings, they generate content, produce products, understanding that I can only add 40% to what they're creating. If they're producing 100 units of energy and I'm only producing 40% of that, it makes sense for them to put in 100 so I can put in 40, right? Because I'm only getting paid 40. But this is 100% of their business. Yes, they're giving some away, but they should still be putting in 100%. Instead, what many customers start to do is start to put in way less effort, believing that you're going to take care of absolutely everything for 40% of the business. It's as if they think that you're on a salary now and they can relax while you build their business. And unfortunately, there's no way to qualify these customers out entirely. You've got to go on your gut feel and remember to work the maths. Typically, we found that when we've worked the maths out, that usually is a pretty good sign as to whether someone is going to do that. And they've already got sales as well. That's a really good indication as well. So revenue share-based businesses can use software or platforms or just simple calculations to pay per month. Some of our customers, for example, some of our lower cost products from customers are paid on a percentage split via Stripe. We use like an affiliate product for that. Whenever we take a sale of like between $19 to like $1,500, Stripe will automatically, kind of via a WordPress plugin that we have, send us 40% of that sale and 60% going to the customer's bank account. However, some of our businesses work on revenue projections, whereby we have an overview of how much which was paid per month and essentially invoice that amount. And when I say revenue projections, I don't mean future projections. They say, we generated 10 grand this month, so we'll send them an invoice for 4 grand. Something to bear in mind when building out marketing funnels on commission or an affiliate basis is the recurring cost to you. You have to understand that you're now taking 40% of the risk as well as the opportunities. Platforms could increase their costs, advertising costs could go up, or any number of problems could kind of squeeze your margin a little bit. Lots of people believe that the 40% commission is free money, but if you still have to work out a valuable price model in order to cover your future recurring costs. Support, maintenance, updates, content are the exact costs that people would have to pay for anyway. So do your recurring income figures at whatever percentage you're working out cover the future recurring costs. Here's a final note, okay? And it's really important to understand this. Easy to sell does not mean easy to work with. There's a misconception that if we offer someone a commission or revenue split model with them, then the offer appears more attractive to them. In actual fact, I believe that if someone was to offer me a marketing funnel project, which would guarantee me 100 new customers at $1,000 per year, which equates to, $100,000 per year, I'd happily pay $40,000 up front for that. Personally, if I knew that they were going to generate me $100,000, I'd happily find 40 grand to just give it to them and take the 60 grand for myself as a profit margin. Instead, many businesses try to offset those initial upfront costs in exchange for a revenue split model. They give away equity in order to lower their initial costs. Now, this might look more appealing to many businesses. You might think this looks appealing to many businesses, but you have to remember that those types of businesses and people that you are attracting with that kind of model might not have the same business sense that someone who's been running a business for 5 years has. Just because it's an easy sale does not mean it's an easy project. I mean, it looks on paper 25 grand versus 8.5 grand like an easy win, right? You think, well, it's way less money for me up front, more risk is taken on from the funnel builder. This seems like something that we should obviously go for. But you've got to think about the types of customers that's attracting, and do you want those types of customers for the rest of your business? Just because the sale is easy and someone goes, yeah, I really think I want that, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be easy to work with. The offer of a marketing funnel for a commission split and therefore reducing that initial cost might sound very appealing, but is that because they want to partner with you or work with you in the future? Or is it because they want to lower their risk and lower their own investment because they don't have much to work with in the first place? Thanks very much, guys. I went a little bit over what I thought I was going to do there. If you want to learn more, you can head over to our blog where we talk about how to price a marketing funnel effectively and efficiently. I'll put the link to that down below. In the meantime, keep building those funnels.